The first two Golden Suns is one of the greatest JRPGs on the Game Boy Advance. I recently beaten the first two Golden Sun games. I'm not talking about nothing about the DS version because you could hardly call that a Golden Sun game with original ideas. So that's just not in my objective. I played it, I've done it, but we're not praising Dark Dawn. We're praising the two original great games on the Game Boy Advance. And this is somewhat a semi-review of the original Golden Sun and Golden Sun The Lost Ages. And I want to talk about later in the video what I would love Golden Sun for the Nintendo Switch, like a new Golden Sun, and what I would think that they will bring over from the original two Golden Suns into the Nintendo Switch version. And in the comment section below, before we start this video and me explaining all of this, I want to know your experience with Nintendo's underrated JRPG Golden Sun. So now, let's get started! The two Golden Sun games was a marvel of an RPG, especially when it first released. I played the original Golden Sun when I was young, but I never really completed it, the original Golden Sun, and that's what my stopping point was. But I played Dark Dawn because it was the newest Golden Sun, and maybe I said, whatever, I just played and it was the worst experience of my life. Don't play Dark Dawn, play the originals. But when I first played it, I was 7 years old, and at that time I was playing Kingdom Hearts 2 on the beginner mode, and you could say I was really whack at video games back in the day, and I'm probably still whack at video games to this date. And I was stuck in Golden Sun at the first major dungeon, and the major dungeon was the first tower. The first tower you fight, the actual tower, because you go to elemental towers. The first tower, I was stuck. The boss there wiped me out, and I give up. I never went back, and I decided like 3 to 2 weeks ago, I guess, I don't know, the last time I made a video on this channel, I decided to play the Golden Sun games. So let me explain why Golden Sun was a unique JRPG. Throughout this video, you're gonna see me comparing these two Golden Sun games to the Legend of Zelda games, the 3D Legend of Zelda games, but not Breath of the Wild. I'm talking about the ones between Ocarina of Time and Skyward Sword, but have like random encounters with different enemies and levels, but it's mainly a puzzle JRPG with a unique story about the wonders of alchemy and the mysteries about the synergy. It's just amazing. Any story with alchemy just reminds me of the Full Metal Alchemist anime, and I just love that anime. So immediately, I was just into it immediately when I was playing this game. Throughout this, I don't want to really spoil the story, but one of the best parts of Golden Sun is the story. And I want everyone to ever watch this video to actually go ahead and play Golden Sun, because Golden Sun is a great game that should be replayed. Even now, you could play it. If you could play Final Fantasy VI right now at this point, you could play Golden Sun at this point. Like, if you could play old games, you could just play Golden Sun. It's that good, and this video is supposed to encourage people to play Golden Sun and see what the Switch expectations are throughout this, right? That was the main point of all this video. And let's talk about the characters. And every character in the Golden Sun, main characters in Golden Sun, and have a reason to go on their adventure. Sometimes you'd be like, oh, I just want to come because of reasons and stuff in RPGs. But they all have their own reasons. They all have their stories. They all have their backstories to the adventure, to the 4 different elemental towers throughout the world. And when you go to towns and villages, and you feel unique, because these people that are in towns and villages, they're normal people. They're like people in the Middle Ages. They don't have the technology. They don't have the knowledge They're just normal people. Some of them do know about the ancient customs and stuff, but everyone is normal, and you just feel unique being in this world, that you have this a magical power of synergy. And synergy is like basically the main power of these main characters in Isaac and Felix. The towns and the overworld, and of course the dungeons. Everywhere you go is basically a puzzle. So let's explain this. On your journey, you have to be going to the 4 elemental towers throughout the game. This includes the 2 Golden Sun games. They're basically the same game split into 2. You need new synergy to open new paths and location. The story will guide you through to get certain synergy. Sometimes they say, oh, we're missing here and there. We need to go back and look back and see what we're missing so we could get our synergy to unlock this path or something. That's how the story guides you. It guides you to get more synergy so you can push forward. This is why I say it's similar to the Legend of Zelda series, because in the Legend of Zelda, you go through dungeons, you collect an item, and you use that item to complete the dungeon. It's similar to that in the synergy. You basically go ahead, you use the synergies that you already have unlocked, you go through the whole dungeon or cave, or maybe sometimes even a town, and you will unlock a synergy, basically an item if you compare it to the Legend of Zelda series, and you can use it throughout the rest of the dungeon. You have puzzles containing this synergy so you can complete it. That's why I love this series, because it's like puzzle JRPG. It's just great. But that's why I like the original Golden Sun the most, because it have the great balance between JRPG and puzzles, not like Lost Ages. And Lost Ages have more to the puzzle side, more to the JRPG side, but that's all my opinion. A lot of people might like Lost Ages more in the gameplay than me, but hey. So let's talk about the JRPG system, and that's the other half of the game that make it so good at the same time, because remember, it's a puzzle JRPG. So basically, throughout the overworld and caves and dungeons, you run into these monsters called djinns. Some djinns are rewarded by doing side quests like any RPG. Or even to compare this to the Legend of Zelda series, you do side quests to get heart pieces. It's the same thing. Djinns are equivalent to heart pieces in Golden Sun. Or you could like actually get djinns by solving puzzles in dungeons or caves and stuff, similar to Legend of Zelda. You can get heart pieces throughout dungeons to increase your health. This is the exact same thing. It's not exactly the same thing. It's more, djinns are more complicated in my opinion. Zelda, you just get heart pieces. Djinns give you more stats and buffs, and obviously it gives you increase in stats. It can gain abilities, you can gain moves, you can lose moves, and yeah, and sometimes you can even debuff you at the same time depending on the character. So djinns are more complicated, but they're so similar to heart pieces in the Legend of Zelda series, and that's what I like about this. It's like everything is all interconnected with Golden Sun. Every djinn have different abilities in combat, and you can mix and match your options. So you could say like a djinn basically, they could have a buff or something like decrease the opponent's defense, right? And you could use that, and then you could use the djinn to create a summoning that's even stronger at the same time. So it's a weird system. It's a weird system. You use djinns, right? You add up djinns. It's almost like the Bravely Default series, or not even the Bravely Default series, the Project Octopath series. So the new Project Octopath is, I played a demo, right? You, after a certain amount of turns, you increase the amount of attacks you could do at the same time. It'd be the same thing. You store up djinns and then you use one huge summoning. And that's why it's amazing. You just strategize to mix and match your djinns so you can just finish with the summonings and defeat your enemies. So let's talk about the difference between Golden Sun 1 and Golden Sun 2. Let's start with Golden Sun 1. Golden Sun 1 puzzles were more fun. It was more short bursts and of different puzzles and different synergies and stuff like that you unlock through dungeons and caves, like I said before. But the puzzles never outstay its welcome, because remember, Golden Sun is like puzzle JRPG. You have to know how to balance the puzzles and the JRPG. And the original Golden Sun does perfect wonders of doing this. Perfect. Golden Sun The Lost Ages had longer puzzles and more puzzles. And it take me more away from the JRPG side of Golden Sun too much. I just like the original Golden Sun, how it was well balanced between puzzles and JRPG, but it's more, it takes you away and it's more puzzles. That's why the game is longer. The game Golden Sun Lost Ages is longer because of the puzzles. The puzzles are longer and more, I don't know how to say this, more tedious in my opinion. The maps are way bigger and sometimes you will have trouble where to go next, but that's not really a huge issue sometimes. It's like only certain points of the game, after like I think halfway through the game, you will be like, where should we go next? And you just have to mind read everyone to figure out something, like a hint or something. So, although I love Golden Sun Lost Ages story more than the original Golden Sun, I believe that the original Golden Sun is what Golden Sun should be. Like every Golden Sun should be, but obviously add more stuff into it to make it more unique. And remember, and this is not really an issue, but I want to mention this. But when I was trying to play, when I was playing Golden Sun The Lost Ages, I wanted to transfer all my equipment, gens, money, items, and all that stuff. And you have to like enter a 250 password code. And it took me like 15 minutes just to put all this code into this game. It just took me a while. I was just, at the same time, I was just looking back and forth. I was like, I have to make sure that every letter and number was correct and symbol, because I just didn't want like a different item or something. So it took me a while. And that's not really an issue, but that's a thing that you keep in mind, that you gotta be prepared after you beat the original Golden Sun, that if you want to bring all your stuff in and you don't want like level 28s standard with 4 gens in the next game, you need to transfer your data, because that's the ideal way to do it, to play it, right? And yeah, so if you want to know, Golden Sun and Golden Sun The Lost Age took me 66 hours to complete in total. So if you wanted to know, that Golden Sun 1 was 30 hours and it took me 36 hours actually to finish Golden Sun The Lost Age. So it's a little bit more time to beat Golden Sun Lost Age, but the thing is, with the original Golden Sun, for me, I was doing more of I did the optional bosses and stuff, and I collect more gens than normal. More with the Lost Age, I was more rushing through it more. I believe if I was doing the exact same thing for the original Golden Sun, it would probably take me 45 hours in the game. So don't be worried about content, because Golden Sun got you covered. Despite everything I said here, I love the original Golden Sun and I love the Lost Age. They're amazing JRPGs. If I would have scored the original Golden Sun, I would have gave it a 9.5 out of 10, and I would have gave the Lost Age a 9 out of 10. These are just great RPGs. It's just that the Lost Age had like some puzzle rooms I didn't like, and the menus got more complicated the more you get into the game and get more synergy. That was my problem with the game, and that's just like 15% tops of the game. The rest of the game is really good. So now let's talk about what I want a new Golden Sun for the Nintendo Switch to have. I would love if Golden Sun for the Nintendo Switch have a similar puzzle and JRPG balance to the original Golden Sun. You see, I already explained why I had a problem with Lost Ages, and it was too much puzzles, and especially air rock. It's an area in the game, rock climb, and you just gotta go all over the place. It was terrible. Sometimes it just get you frustrated. So I just want less of that, unless they want to do Uncharted style or anything like that. I doubt they want to do that in a JRPG, but they could do it if they want third person, if they want with puzzle and be a JRPG at the same time. They could do it if they want, but I'm not gonna complain if they did or not. But hey, we already explained this, why Golden Sun 1 puzzle rooms was really good because it normally turn off random encounters, because this is a problem with Lost Ages. Like, the puzzle rooms was full of random encounters. I don't even care if Golden Sun the Lost Age had a party member to have the ability to avoid at all times if you have the water djinns equipped to them. But the thing is, the Golden Sun's menus were really clustered. There was a lot of things on that menu, and you have to scroll through different menus, because this was on the Game Boy Advance, just to get a void. I know you could shortcut commands and stuff and different synergy on your shoulder buttons, but it's just not worth it when you're in a dungeon and you have two different synergy doing a puzzle, and you just want to finish the puzzle quickly as possible and don't worry about anything else. But I believe this has come to my second point. I believe that if Golden Sun is going to keep the same formula as before for the Nintendo Switch version of this game, it needs to have more buttons or shortcut buttons. So instead of having two, it needs to have like how Legend of Zelda is. Legend of Zelda has so many shortcut buttons. You can have like 4 in the shoulder buttons and maybe like X and Y or something for more, like 6 shortcuts. That would have been amazing. This would take up most of the issues I have with the Lost Ages instantly, how complicated it is. Another thing I believe that Nintendo should be doing is taking more risk with the series. You already know Golden Sun Dark Dawn, it didn't really innovate the Golden Sun series. This was on a DS, a much more powerful system. What you did, make it a little 3D, make it more less sprite based and make it 3D. No one cares, just innovate. That's all we need in a new Golden Sun, innovation. And lastly, and most importantly, and a lot of people might disagree with me, but I believe that Golden Sun for the Nintendo Switch, or the new Golden Sun, needs to leave the world of Isaac and Felix. It needs to have its own original story, not connected to Golden Sun and the Golden Sun the Lost Ages. And I mean, we don't talk about Dark Dawn with that, trying to force the story on us. But hey, we need a completely different story in a different world, or maybe a far future, or something like that. That would have been amazing. But don't try to force like Isaac's story, try to continue and put Isaac and Felix in there or something. Don't try. Just try to make an original story around the Golden Sun and synergy and djinns. That's what you need to be a Golden Sun game. And obviously, before I continue to my last point, it's been 8 years since Dark Dawn. Even if they try to continue, a lot of people, it's gonna be their first Golden Sun game. You need to have a original story that people can get into now. It's all about now. A lot of people is not gonna want to play Golden Sun 1 and 2 to discover Golden Sun 4. It needs to be its own original story. And the last cherry on top, and this would make it great, like top pinnacle of all JRPGs right now, and why I'd be so excited. And I would be really excited for Golden Sun, but I would love voice acting in this new Golden Sun. It's not needed. Far from it. It's not needed in Golden Sun, but you know, there's a lot of critics out there like IGN. I watched their review of Dark Dawn, and they talked about it was too much text boxes. But if you had a voice acting and they have the option to turn it off, hardcore gamers or something, like people that don't like voice acting in video games, that could be a selling point to a lot of people. Like, voice acting in a game more easier to get into, or you could turn it off and you could play old school. Same thing. That's my opinion on it. And I'd rather watch cutscenes than read them, to be honest. But that's more accessibility option. But if they do all of this that I just stated, like take more risk, better shortcut system, the puzzles similar to the original Golden Sun, and lastly, and the original story, and even the little bit of voice acting, I don't even mind if it's not there, but it's just there, just to be there. This would be probably the best Golden Sun game. I don't care about being third person or over the top. It doesn't matter. That doesn't make Golden Sun. You know what make Golden Sun? The Golden Sun. Synergy. Djinns. That make Golden Sun, not the characters. we could have another line of characters, and that's important to the world. It could be a different world that's explain the story of Golden Sun. We don't need Isaac anymore. We need to move on. Before I completely end this video, I want to thank everyone that support me even throughout my hiatus from YouTube once in a while between that. So I want to thank everyone. And before we end the chapter of Golden Sun, let's discuss how everyone is talking about Isaac coming to Smash Bros. 5. And you know what? You're all wrong. Isaac shouldn't be there. It should be Felix. Felix is the better character. Isaac does not need to be in Smash 5. Felix needs to be in there. And that's final. Now, I pissed off everyone in the Smash community.